Okay, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful Thursday here. Let's get that posture up, get them shoulders back a bit. Grab yourself a refreshment of your choice. For me, today's refreshment is Spade. It's a premium sparkling soda here. They have 6 flavors: cola, yuzu lime, guava, blueberry acai, kiwi strawberry, Dr. Spade. Only 6 ingredients. Sweetened with the most premium, pure form of stevia on the market. No bitter aftertaste. Caffeine-free, dye-free. Added electrolytes for a hydration benefit. Just as healthy as a sparkling water. Just as flavorful as a traditional soda. These are very good. Very good. So thank you, Spade, for
These are
sponsoring
really
the show.
fucking good. I like these a lot.
You having the cola flavor there, Joe?
I don't know. Just good
Do-
though.
Yeah, okay, good. We're here with one of my coaches and Sugar's coaches, and one of the big part of the Sugar Show's success, Coach Brandon Harris here, who's been working with us now, 7, 8 years?
Yeah, in a while.
Been at it for a whole minute, and I truly believe a big majority of Sugar's success, and we wouldn't be where we're at today if we wouldn't have found you. And I tell people all the time, people ask me, what would you do different if you could go back for your fighting career right now? And it would be find Coach Brandon here for the strength and conditioning, and he's just so good at finding ways to bring yourself into the present moment. And Joe knows, everyone knows, at a high level fight, in fighting, that is such an important part to be able to do that. And watching Sean do that in a packed full arena where there's just so much pressure on him, bring himself into the present moment and just let his abilities take over is one of his biggest strengths. And I think the breathing protocols, and he does a good job with his meditation practices and stuff. What kind of things, just breathing, getting brought into the present, what kind of things do you do with Sugar? Because you're the one who's warming him up. You're the first one to open his lungs up when we're in the locker room. What's like a cadence that you do with him before we start our warm up for the big show?
It varies a lot depending on his state and what feedback I'm getting from watching him and watching you with him. But really, Suge is just so good at that on his own. Like, I feel like I've played off of that, but really he was already elite at that as a human. Like, I go back to one of the things that you always say, which I always love, is you tell him to be right where his feet are, right? And he's a Michael Jordan type athlete as far as being in the moment, and he's a gamer. And I think the piece of that is just being right where you are and being good with whatever you're feeling, and let that just work through you, not try to push it away. And the breath just becomes an anchor for that. So it's almost like the pattern depends on the individual, and it's a tool to get you even more present. And then we have the ability to work with the nervous system. So either ramp the nervous system up or bring the nervous system down, depending on the person. But ultimately, you're feeling what you feel, and you're completely present. And it's this ability to be almost mindless and to be completely engulfed in what you're doing, to be right where your feet are.
Yeah, you came in and did a little workshop for a bunch of my students and my competitors, and you talk about like the breathing stages or the gears.
Mm-hmm.
And how many gears was there again?
5, 6.
6 gears. And the first gear is what?
So think of the gears as just, it's a protocol of teaching people how to match the demand with their breath, right? So it's a simplified way of teaching somebody how to breathe relative to the task. So first gear would be low intensity, low aerobic, and that would be a light nose in, light nose out. So like a 1 to 2 second in, 1 to 2 second out with your nose.
That's first gear.
First gear. So you're flowing, you're just moving, right? And then you gear up, so intensity increases, and there's more nuance to this, but the general way of thinking about it is, and then it's a fast nose in, so you're pulling air in and you're still light out through your nose, right? And then from there, it would be fast nose in, fast nose out. So you're matching the demand. It's quick in, quick out. And then it's quick nose in, light mouth out. And then it's quick. And then it's eventually you get to the mouth in, mouth out.
And mouth in, mouth out's when your heart rate's 200 and you're really just gasping for air. That's your peak gear.
Yeah. So like gear 5, 6. And once you get there, you don't have much room to go. You can only stay there for so long. And if you get there too quick, so if a person mismanages that, they're just wasting energy. And that's what you see with people really in all sports, but you see it a lot in fighting where somebody, most likely it's because of the nerves. It's because their nervous system is ramped up. They're in a fight or flight and they're not comfortable in the moment. So they're breathing because their mind is busy, and your breathing will match that. That will start to ramp up before it should. And then you're just wasting energy.
And most people really aren't even aware of it, because I go with some great grapplers, some great wrestlers in here, and within the first minute, I can hear them just going, they're already mouth breathing, and we're not even 30, 45 seconds into the match. So really noticing it. And are you going to you'll be able to think a lot more clear when you're just going maybe nasal, first, second, third gear?
Yeah, you absorb more oxygen. So, a 30% more oxygen when you breathe through your nose. So right there, you're more efficient. And I think one of the issues with this is you can be elite and mismanage it. Like you'll see some of the elite that are at the top of their game still mismanaging their breathing. So if you got to the level you guys got to, and nobody ever pointed that out, you'd almost feel like, why do I need to change anything? So a lot of times that's a low-hanging fruit for me as a performance coach, that if somebody doesn't breathe effectively, so they're not only mismanaging their breathing relative to the demand, they're also not fully engaging their diaphragm, you're going to lose power, right? Because diaphragmatic breathing, think of it as like a pump. You breathe, your diaphragm goes down on an inhale, your pelvic floor accepts that force, and then it rebounds it back up. That's why you want to throw on an exhale, because of that force transfer. So think of your core being really a force transmitter. It's not like you want a six pack. Like six pack's fine, but ultimately it's transfer of energy. But if you go back to the mismanagement of it, there's also the side of the mind that I think you think of it as it's your mind and your breath are like two sides of the same coin. This is an old like yoga concept. So if your mind is fast, your breath is fast. If your breath is fast, your mind is fast. It's a bi-directional relationship. They go both ways. It's easier to manage your breath than it is to manage your mind. So if you know how to slow your breath down, if you can stay calm through your breath, your mind is going to be slower. And you hear athletes all the time talk about the game slowed down. I mean, to me, Suga's a great example. Like, he's calm. It looks slower to him, right? I mean, I could basically pick every fight where his opponent, not only does, like, I feel like they don't break him initially, like Aljo came out and got in his face. He was like trying to break him, and Suge stayed calm, stared right back at him. It was almost like, from my opinion, he almost like, I don't want to say he broke him then, but like he probably expected a different reaction out of Suge. Mm-hmm. He stayed calm. He's right there. That's like, oh shit, like this guy's here to fight. Mm-hmm. His mind is calm, is slower, therefore his breathing is slower. His breathing slow, therefore his mind is slower, and everything slows down. Like, how many elite athletes do you hear say the game slowed down? It looks slower. An elite basketball player, it just looks slower. Like, they're able to manage it. I think that's an easy way of thinking why breathing is so important, is that if you can manage your mind by controlled breathing and you can slow things down, that's a very clear competitive advantage for any athlete.
Yeah, and it seems like it's not like you're going to be able to just learn this and be like, notice it and just be able to do it all of a sudden. It seems like, I'm sure Zone 2 cardio has been around for, who knows, decades and decades, but it seems like it's becoming a lot more popular now. And you always recommend doing Zone 2 cardios, nasal breathing the whole time. Is that a good way to train yourself to do that?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, and probably from podcasts like you guys and Peter Attia and, Rogan and all of these that have these high level, exercise physiologists, PhDs talking about it, that there's a huge benefit of zone 2 is basically just base aerobic work. And all of your conditioning comes down to your utilization of oxygen. Like it's all oxygen based. But if you mismanage respiration and you breathe too fast too early, you're negatively affecting a lot of your conditioning. But again, you can be elite and do it poorly. That's the trick. That's one of the I guess nuances of this is that you see people that are fucking really good at what they do and they mismanage it. So it's not always like very clear that that's what somebody needs. But from my perspective, it is. It's like, damn, this is a low hanging fruit. Like let's teach somebody to breathe more controlled, to stay through their nose, to tolerate CO2. They'll immediately be calmer, and it is a process, but everybody can benefit from it for sure.
I mean, especially when you're getting into these championship level fights where it's 5-minute rounds and you have to be so smart with your energy. Even this weekend, we were at the Nate Diaz Masvidal fight and it's 10 3-minute rounds. So you're boxing for a half an hour.
Yeah.
So those minutes in between the rounds are so fucking important. So with Sean, you've trained him so good to try to drop his gears. After we get done, I mean, we've seen it with him after the first, second round. He's damn near nasal breathing already. With, who was it? It was with Cheeto. Who was fight before it? With Cheeto, Aljo. He's nasal breathing in between rounds, like already. He's not getting back to his arm.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure there's fights where we're going to get to that. But how do you start? If he comes back to the corner and he's just really... Do you train him previously to try to drop those gears, to try to get back to nasal, and sometimes you're not going to be able to get there?
Yeah. I don't know what the increase in efficiency is. If I made it, let's just say it's 30% more efficient. I'm making that number up. I don't know if you could actually gauge it or measure it, but that's huge. So the other thing comes back to if he's completely present. If he's right there and he's not all over the place, he's not wasting energy, because if there's internal resistance to the moment, if you're like, fuck, man, he got me right there, like, damn, the crowd, there's
my ankle or
there's
something.
energy, like thoughts consume energy, right? Like you know that, like if you're under stress, if you have emotional stress, which is mental stress, it consumes energy. You're fatigued. So if you're better at being in the moment and being present, you're conserving energy. That's again a huge advantage. I mean, I like giving you a huge amount of credit is you stay calm. Think about that. You're calm. You come out there. He's obviously he's comfortable with you. You guys love each other. You guys are a team. You stay calm. That influences him. Think about other coaches that come out and they're, in their face and yelling, and that might be the right input for a certain athlete. Most likely it's not. So it's all connected. And when Sean's doing all of his work, he's always aware of that. The boxing and all your guys' drills, the mitt work with him on the assault bike, like think about that. In between, he closes his eyes. He's very present. He's right there. He's right where his feet are. He's working on his breath to maximize his recovery. That might be one of his greatest skills. He's obviously skilled with his hands. He's skilled with his whole body. I've never met somebody that's better at being present than Sean.
Yeah, and he was even like that. Joe remembers, even on his pro debut, we were in the cage and Joe asked me, he's like, is he always like just this comfortable when he's going to fight? I'm like, yeah, when the lights turn on, he's there. But the more pressure and the higher level these fights became, 5 rounds, there's so much pressure, there's millions of dollars on the line, the more I think him being able to focus on what you've taught him with the breath and his constant meditation practice is definitely what sets him apart, I believe too.
Yeah, I think this is why, this is my opinion, why really elite athletes typically don't make great coaches at the highest level. Like a Michael Jordan was not a good coach, right? You have, because really elite don't know what they're doing,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yep.
like, it almost is like, it's almost a common sense thing. You mean not everybody does this? Like, no, not everybody does this. Most people in a world championship fight are freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, remember Cowboy
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
when we were, and he's talked about that, right? Remember his energy backstage, whatever fight that was. I was like, holy cow, like that. It's a very different energy.
What was it?
Oh, he's a vet. I mean, that's the thing with these vets. You're so prepared for a fight. Say you're more ready for a fight. Like, there's no way I can lose this fight. I've done everything. I'm healthy. I've done everything. I've worked harder than I've ever worked. And then at the end of the fight, it's like, I broke my face or I broke my arm and I got knocked out cold. Now you're like, oh shit. Now you have to battle those demons.
Yeah.
The next time you go into the cage. Like, yeah. Or next time you're making that walk, you're like, I feel great. I had another fight camp. But I've had that before and I've lost. So
Yeah.
bringing yourself in the moment after being a vet and after having lots of losses and broken foots, broken arms, getting knocked out, bring yourself to the present again and again. That's even more of a superpower. I think it's a little bit easier when all these fights go good.
Yeah.
When
But
these fights
I
go
wonder if that's how he was early in his career. I mean, I'm pretty sure he talked about being really nervous and throwing up. I mean, he couldn't have been a nicer guy, but his energy it was just so different. Like, it was like a nervous energy that I was surprised to feel and see.
It made you nervous. It rubbed off on you.
I could feel it.
Absolutely. In the locker room, somebody else's energy, you fucking rub off on your whole team.
Oh yeah, he was very, very scared. Like he did not want to be there.
What fight was he? Remember what fight
This is his
it was?
last fight, I believe.
With Connor? Was that his
I
last
don't
fight?
think that was his last fight. I think
think
it
it
was.
was.
I think it was after that.
I wanted to ask you this. Have you ever, because me personally, if I have a bad round and I'm tired on top of getting cracked, and say 2 exchanges before the round and they didn't go my way, and going back to I think it was Nick Diaz I fought, but I went back and Jeremy Horn was my corner, and I'm all over the place. I'm looking, I won't look at him. He has to grab my face and I'm out of sorts. How do you calm someone down when they're worked up like that? Because nobody could calm me down. Nobody. I had to do it myself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm careful to answer that because I've never been in your situation, right?
Yeah.
So as a coach, it's
Different for everybody.
yeah, and every athlete's going to be different. I think a lot of that comes back to the relationship to the coach and the coach understanding the individual.
Yeah.
I don't know you. Your energy is different than Sean's.
Yeah.
So, but that's not to say that you can't train to be calmer in that situation, or sometimes calmness doesn't look like calmness, right? Like somebody can be amped up but there's still a calmness to it. That's where it gets tricky, is that individuals are just different. Your personality is different.
Yeah.
But as long as you're authentic to who you are, anyone can train their nervous system to be managed.
What do you mean by that?
So, think of your autonomic nervous system. You have 2 sides of it. This is oversimplified, but your sympathetic, stress, fight or flight, and your parasympathetic, rest, digest, like chill. It's like you're always rotating kind of in and out between. So when you inhale, your sympathetic system is turned on. When you exhale, it's turned down.
Okay.
So HRV is based off of that. It's like this interwoven interplaying of the 2 systems. When you're in a competitive environment, you want your system to be engaged. Like, you don't want to walk out to a fight and be like ready to fall asleep. But so if you emphasize the exhale, if you slow down your exhale, you'll connect more with the down regulation, the parasympathetic side.
Right.
So something as simple as someone taking a breath in and then slowly letting it out, you can find that peace, that calming sensation in one breath. That can be taught.
That's
so
crazy.
so someone that understands that will teach it. Okay, we're gonna stress the system out. We're gonna get on the assault bike. We're gonna go heart rate's really high, and then we're gonna teach that person to calm their nervous system. Once you have confidence that you can do it, you can find it in almost any moment.
That's cool as fuck. That's cool.
So I like to do things where one of my favorite drills I do is, I call it Apache breathing drill, because I read about it in a book about the Apache Indians, where they would have their kids hold a mouthful of water in their mouth and run up like a mountain. and they had to come back down and spit the water out.
No shit.
So I don't know a ton about that, but what I'm assuming is that the Native Americans understood that nasal breathing was connected to health. And the book Breathe by James Nestor, he talks about that as well. So you put somebody on an assault bike, you have them hold water in their mouth, and then you create a task. So whatever that is, it could be, a minute all out. I like to use the 10 seconds on, 20 seconds off, but the goal is to stay nasal. So now not only is a person forced to breathe through their nose, you're confronting a very panicky feeling. Like it's very stressful, and then you get better at it. And a person learns how to manage their breath, but also get more comfortable with that feeling of basically being suffocated.
Yeah.
So again, I've rolled a little bit, but I don't do that. To me, that would be like probably what it feel like to be being choked to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I mean, probably not as stressful, but there are characteristics that are consistent, that are similar.
Yeah, we got Joe. Joe has a fight. What's the date of it?
I don't know. August 3rd.
August
Hell yeah.
3rd here. Yeah. And
he hurt my feelings.
I hurt his feelings a little bit.
Didn't.
Well, it's because I care about him, and I don't want him fighting unless he's absolutely prepared for the battle. And because you're 42 now, Joe?
No, 41.
We're 41 years old here. And how much could it benefit Joe once or twice a week doing a 30, 40-minute zone 2 nasal breathing only? Because you can breathe out of your nose, right?
Yeah. It's
You
flat,
can breathe out
but
of your nose. How much could that benefit him overall? Hugely, probably, Brandon?
Yeah. I mean, there'd be benefit for sure, because that's how many weeks out?
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Yeah. I would say a couple of days a week.
A couple days. And the hardest part about that is just keeping your mind busy. Maybe you could throw on a podcast or something and not get your heart rate to where you're like gas and where you go, keep it at what, 130 to 140 to where you're able to keep it nasal?
Yeah. I mean, you can do testing to know where that line is. You can do lactate testing to know where that line is to really know. Otherwise, you're guessing. But I think of it like this. In MMA training, with what you guys are doing, your heart rate's always high. Right, it's like
he's doing 2-minute rounds bare knuckle.
Yeah, so you're training, like heart rate's really high, and then there's some fluctuation. You're recovering, so it's one of these things. What you're not getting is that longer duration, low intensity aerobic work, and not only is that good for your base building, but it's also a recovery stimulus. So that's probably even more important at this piece, is that you're using aerobic training, you're using that low intensity work to fuel recovery.
Okay.
Right. So think of it, if you did, let's just say you did 45 minutes at a low heart rate, you got in the cold plunge, you did some stretching, you're going to feel better the next day.
Yeah.
So it's driving recovery. That is more important, I would say.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I know nothing about this shit. Nothing. Like I can listen to you talk for hours about
in this day and age, 41 years old, it's almost like
you see you throwing that fucking number around.
41 and we're still at it. But you're a fucking scary motherfucker. But I feel like the training's gonna have to change a little bit. That's
it is, dude. I'm an old fucking bird, man. I mean, it's because last year I retired like a year ago, whatever. I mean, it's a hard transition. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing because I'm not. If I don't financially to fight anymore to do that was so I just don't fuck. I'm wandering around aimlessly. So the fight. I mean, it's not. So it's. I mean, everybody wants more money, but it's not about that. I just feel like I'm fucking just stuck in a rut, man.
Yeah. And at this point, especially this close to a fight, it's not like your skills are going to improve. You've been fighting your whole entire life, so getting you in proper shape, proper physical shape. But it's probably just so different at this age.
Well, I'm happy to help, man.
Yeah, dude, I'll pick your brain, man. I mean, shit. I could honestly, man. I didn't. Because I listen to Tim. He'll talk and he'll briefly touch on something you guys have talked about, and it's super interesting because I don't know anything about that stuff, man. That'd be fucking great. I'd appreciate the hell out of that.
Yeah.
One thing I love about Brandon the most is he'll really he won't do the same thing for me as he would Sugar. Like, everyone's body style is different.
Yeah.
A lot of strength conditioning coaches, they learn in school, well, no, deadlift, we're squatting with the bar, baby. Let's go. Let's get that back arched and let's fucking push it.
Yeah.
But it's like, one thing Brandon does is he makes us feel good for the practices that matter for the practices that we're actually building our skills, MMA practice, wrestling practice, striking practice. He'll make you feel good for those practices instead of break you down so much and then you go into those practices half-assed. It's
Do
like,
you think you concentrate on recovery just as much as the normal practice? Like, do you concentrate on building your conditioning just as much as recovery? Is that the key to that?
Yeah. Think of the Aura rings, whoops, Omega Wave. That's what this technology is. The information it's trying to give you is when to go hard and when to pull off.
Yeah.
Most of the data, the Aura ring is cardiovascular based. So so if your downtick, like if your readiness is really low, like it's an indication that today might be a day to do recovery. And I think a simple way to think about it is if you're always going hard, you're probably never going hard, right? Like if it's you can't go hard every practice. So if you have some undulation to that, some fluctuation, then you'll have days where you can go hard. Like that's what periodization is. Think of a fight camp. Old school, everybody in fight camp trains really hard, peak, and then you take 7 days off.
Yeah.
Like fight week is that's what that is.
Yeah.
Like you don't just keep training hard all the way to the fight. It's the same idea, except that you have fluctuation or undulation week to week based off of the individual.
And you're monitoring all that, and
Monitoring
that's
that,
cool.
and Suga's great at that. Like he's really good at being honest about, man, I feel shitty today. Like I think today needs to be a recovery day. So I'm curious because I was just talking to Bryce Meredith about like some of this stuff, and what he brought up was, so he's buddies with Bo Nickel. I guess Penn State, their practice is very different than everywhere else. So wrestling's very old school, I'm assuming, and that Penn State, they're always winning.
yeah.
Like they apply this more than other schools. So there's an example at a high level, the highest level D1, combat sport wrestling, where they're being smarter about their approach. I'd be really curious to know more about what that looked like.
Seriously.
But
That's one thing I think we got dialed into is like, we trust Sean enough and he trusts us enough. We trust him enough to where it's like, hey, I don't feel good today. And he's not being a bitch.
Yeah.
Where a lot of coaches be like, nope, we're fucking toughing up. I don't give a fuck if you don't feel bad. We're toughing it up. We're doing it. You have to do it. This is the program.
Yeah.
This is the program. It's like, no, he's a different type of athlete than everyone else. He's not a lazy athlete, and we've been around him enough to where we trust that.
That's a good point, man. You can trust what he says and not have to question it. I mean, because some people you do. Some people don't like to spar hard. They just don't like to. Sean's honest about how he's feeling. That's huge.
Yeah.
yeah, he would. I think he's the type of guy that he would prefer to train. It's
Yes.
more to manage it, to be confident enough to take a day off. In a perfect world, he probably would be training hard all the time, but
Yep.
you have to have some undulation to that, or especially as you get older, man. Like I'm 43 and I train hard, but in other ways. But as I've gotten older, I feel like I'm just as capable, if not more, as I always have been. But I have to be smarter about taking days off.
That's the number one thing you notice?
Yeah, not even take. So it's not take days off, but it's take recovery days. And again, that can be a zone 2 run. Get some sun, get in the cold plunge, like stretch, breathe, still train, because like doing nothing isn't good recovery. Like sitting on the couch and watching TV, that's not good.
I always feel it worse. I get laid on the couch,
100%.
beat the fuck down. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, do something you love. Even being here and being around people that have good energy, that's good recovery.
Yeah.
But then there's other things that you can integrate to step it up even more.
What are 3 things you think are the best thing for recovery?
I'm going to go real simple. I'm going to say morning sunlight, get your feet on the earth, grounding, and drink good water. And that fits with so much of what this, right?
Fuck.
I respect Tim so much because you've been into that for as long as I've known you.
He's always educating himself.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, but simple, right? Hydrate, good water. I don't know the research on that. I think there most likely is going to be some cool stuff coming out with the hydrogen water,
With what, really? Or with what?
Quality water, and then morning sunlight. Put your phone away. Just breathe, slow down, start your day a little bit slower if possible, and then based off how you feel, go get it. You know, you want to plan as a combat athlete, as a professional athlete, you want to plan, but you want some room to have flexibility in it, because you're unique. What you did last night, right? I don't know if you're married, if you have gotten a fight with your girlfriend, that's going to affect your training the next day. If you ate shitty food, that's going to affect your training. Sleep is huge.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I remember I was watching some Khabib vlogs, and he'd sit everyone down before, and he'd make sure everything's going good with the family and at home. And if there's something going bad, he wouldn't even let you practice.
Yeah.
You just sit out the practice.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, all right, well, we'll do a little weather report here. We'll give Ryan Allen a call, and then we'll move on to everything. Yeah, here in Phoenix, it is. My chickens are going through it big time.
Dude, I can't. I was looking for. You said your chickens were panting. That's just fascinated me ever since I heard that. I just can't imagine that shit.
Oh, they're huffing and puffing.
Have you seen chickens pants at all? I mean, that's crazy. I got to see.
Well, over 86 degrees, they're panting.
Are they able? Those feathers weigh them down.
And we got Wednesday here. We got Wednesday, 116 degrees is the high. Thursday, 115. Friday, 115. Saturday, we're cooling down a bit. We got 113. Sunday, 109. And then we keep going back up to 111.
The difference is, okay, in Montana, it gets kind of hot in Great Falls, but then at night it cools down. It doesn't. It's barely cracking below 100, man. It's just it's beating the shit out of me. I can't take it.
I know, that's why, I mean, it's so nice. Have you been really enjoying the cold plunge at your gym now? I mean, cooling down when you need to here and there. That thing is a game changer, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got one at home now too. So.
Oh, you do? Hell yeah. What'd you get?
I think it's the same one you have. Energize, the portable. Mm-hmm. I love it.
How much you get it for?
So I got it from one of my baseball players. I bought it for like $2,500.
Your baseball players?
Yeah. So
you work with baseball players?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Now it's coming together. Is that like the guys that come here from? Is that like that?
Yeah, that's who I met Evan Longoria and stuff from.
Yeah.
So that was a good connect. I was listening to this podcast pretty recently. It was really, really interesting with Joe Rogan and the guy's name, but they were talking about near-death experiences a lot and how different people
Those are great to hear.
All have experienced the same thing with near-death experiences. Like they're almost like they're like above their family and the people they care about. Joe's probably had some serious near-death experiences a handful of times. So have you ever felt any of those?
Yeah, when I gunned myself down.
Was it almost like a trip, like a psychedelic trip?
It was crazy because I was always afraid of dying. It's always, my mortality has always been a hard thing I didn't like talking about it. So, but I thought I was going to die because it hit my femoral artery, so you don't have a certain amount of time. But yeah, I thought I thought it was just crazy. I mean, because it's I don't know what it's called. What is it? What did you say it was called?
NDE, near death experiences.
Okay, but it's fun. Like when I came back to my body, like I wasn't like in heaven, but I mean it was like I've never felt more peace, more love, I've never felt that. And then when I came back to my body, I was like, why God? I didn't want to be in there. I didn't want to be in that busted up fucking body. And it took about a month to fucking straighten my mind out. Being back here, that's the hardest part. Is when I can't even explain it. It's nuts.
Has that changed your like now you're not afraid of death?
No, I'm not at all. I mean, because when I passed out, or whatever. What I was thinking about is my wife not having her husband, my kids not having their father. And then when I because my heart, I don't know it's when you flatline, but my heart rate I didn't have a heartbeat for a minute, and I don't know if that was the time, but it's crazy. Yeah, it takes you somewhere, man. It's fucking. I mean, then just like any hard thing you go through, it makes you better. I mean, it's just there's no salvation without suffering. It's just a good thing, man.
I gotta send you for your next Zone 2 cardio session, Joe. I gotta send you this podcast where this guy talks about it. He talks about the near death experiences, and it's really interesting.
Would you like to witness that? How a near death experience? Not go through the near death, but the feeling of the
what happens after. Yeah. Fuck, I don't know. Probably
dude, I swear to God, some people do talk about this. The mental part, like how to wrap your fucking head around what you're doing, where you are, where you were. That's the hardest part. I don't even have to talk about this to anybody. after my wife left, because I still, it's all haze going back to it. But I mean, after, like, I don't know, it might have been the next day. I would cry, like sob for when people would leave, because I didn't know how to talk to people about what happened. Didn't know how to even I couldn't wrap my head around it. It took a long time to be able to even talk about it myself, to even make it sound. It was nuts. But yeah, it's a crazy thing. People don't talk about that part.
Joe, sorry, buddy.
No, go ahead.
Did it feel like a dream, or did it feel different?
No, it didn't. I've never felt anything close to that. I mean, it's just like the best feeling I've ever felt. I mean, it just amplified that by 1,000. I mean, it's just because all we want is peace, and we just want.
So it was pretty peaceful.
Yeah, dude, I can't explain it, man. Yeah, it's fucking. It's not like I want to just jump off a building to go fucking feel it, but yeah, it's my big worry of death is because it would, if someone brought up, I would change the subject, and it wasn't fun to talk about. But yeah, I don't have that fear anymore at all.
I'm fascinated with this stuff, and a lot of my personal practice is rooted in mindfulness and meditation and awareness of ego, so like quieting ego. Mm-hmm. I'm convinced that when an athlete touches elite performance, there's a connect, like it's connected.
Oh,
like that your complete surrender when the mind is quieted is where elite performance resides. So if you think of an athlete, you have to trust your work,
mm-hmm.
but you like a belief in yourself, and not that the mind will ever completely shut off, but that there's a quieting of it, and then there's this that's flow, like that's in the zone. Sure. That probably is, I don't even know how to put it into words, but
I know, right?
Imagine there's like a similar connection. That's your spirit. That's your higher self.
Exactly what it
that
is.
To me is what it is, and it's cool to hear that.
Yeah,
it's fascinating.
Yeah, Sebastian Junger. I think that's the pod on Joe Rogan's. If you guys want to listen to that,
is he
fucking interesting.
Is he just a normal Joe? Is he a doctor? Is he?
I don't remember. It says what he is in the description, and he talks about his experience, and then he started studying it, and it's really crazy.
Have you guys? Sorry, that one. He was a neurosurgeon. He did not believe in life after death, and then he had an infection in his spinal cord. I don't think it was spinal meningitis, but he was brain dead. Like his family was about to unplug him. Like they did a lumbar puncture, a spinal tap, and pus came out of his back. He was dead, but he had this crazy out-of-body experience for a long time, and he was a non-believer, and he was just rooted in science. And it's crazy to listen to his take on it. You should look that up.
I think his book is called Proof of Heaven.
That avoid.
Right? I think,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's super
great.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
So I wonder if he's like religious in a certain religion now. Like which one?
No, he's
is
not.
It?
No. I mean, he's not. Have you read the book?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just, it's because a lot of people take that the scientific stance on stuff. That's what so anybody that comes from that level of thinking, that's where he was. So it's good.
Well, even scientists don't say they know.
No, but he didn't say, he was, because he's a smart guy off of his experience in life being a fucking doctor. I mean, a neurosurgeon. He just was very matter of fact. He didn't after he died, he just go in the dirt. It's cool.
That's crazy. Well, we got some. I mean, we got a lot more questions than I thought we'd get. But so we can kind of bust them out quick. This one's real quick here. For Brandon, what is his general training philosophy, and how does it differ from traditional approach to health and performance? How did you discover and develop your practice? I mean, that's not
20
easy short answer.
20 years of doing it, and hopefully continuing to stay open-minded and being curious all the time, wanting to still grow. I mean, I think I go back to the breath is such a foundational piece. And then every human is unique, so you take the principles, and then you understand that just because this principle, the results I get doing something with you isn't what you get with Joe. So you respect that, you honor that, and then you try to figure out what's the best path to get somebody to a goal.
Fuck.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Brady Martinick, this is a topic. He said, trusting yourself and taking the leap to pursue your dreams and disobeying what your parents think is right for you and doing what you think is right.
It's hard.
I mean, you got to do it though. You got to do it. I've seen too many of my friends follow exactly what their parents think is right for them. And times are changing, everything's changing, and then they're stuck in this job where you're only going to make this certain amount of money for the rest of your life. It can't really go up.
What was that
And
guy's
you're trying to be take the safe route and do what's right because your parents, they're looking out for you and they do love you, but I'm not going to say they always know what's best.
No.
Ryan, for Brandon, what are some absolute must-dos for recovery, especially for low cost? We talked about that a bit. And is it normal to feel weaker on some strength training days and strong on others? For Riggs, if he turned gay, who are the first three
God
guys
damn it.
he's pounding? We can skip that one.
What the fuck? That's a you.
That was the same question.
Shut the fuck up.
It was, dude.
Hold on. Pump the brakes. Are you fucking me? Someone just said that.
Yeah.
I'll fucking pound you, motherfucker. God damn it. Scott, those gay questions are hard to deal with, man.
They are, isn't it?
God, uncomfortable gayness.
Okay, how about this one then? Question for Brandon. Have you considered trying to measure punching power with Power Cube and then testing different strategies to increase it, like punching with resistance bands or landmines? I mean, we do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the cube. I'm assuming it just measures like velocity, and there definitely are like one of the principles of strength training in general is law of specificity. So if you want to get better at something, you have to do it. So if you want to get faster, you got to move fast. But it's way more nuanced than that, meaning like where is a person starting? Do they have a base? What's their training age, right? Like there's all of these things you take into consideration. But ultimately, let's just say you have somebody that has a high training age, they have a good foundation, a good base, and you decide that a gap in their who they are as an athlete is they need to be faster. You want to fill that gap, then you go fast, right? Like you need to move things fast. If you want to be faster, you have to move things fast. But there's other things to consider. But if a person is ready for that, then landmine is a great tool. Band work, like the barbell where it moves. Like you think of being more athletic and more generating power from the ground up and the transmission of energy, but 100% those things are great. It just depends a lot on the individual, right?
Hell yeah. Okay, where did Brandon learn all he knows with breathwork, and does he ever face any challenges with discipline and keeping his mind in the game for so long?
For sure. Yeah, I'm a heady dude, so I think a lot.
I'm a heady dude. I said,
right?
Nice.
I don't know what it's like to be in your head, right?
You
So I
don't
have
want
no
to know. You don't want to
comparison.
know, yeah.
But yeah, it's the one thing that has made the biggest impact in my life is breathwork meditation.
That's crazy. I like hearing that, man.
Yeah.
Something so simple has that much of an impact.
Yep.
Dude, I'm telling you, Joe, in this book I read, Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss, Tribe of Mentors, he interviews all these high-performing people, and probably 80% of the people, maybe even more than that, in the book talk about the meditation, how it's the most powerful thing they've done.
I've wasted my fucking life.
Dude,
God damn it.
you're still young.
Local man just gives up fucking
You're
life.
still young.
Okay, Slew here. Feeling very unfulfilled in my day job. I was lucky to get hired during COVID right after graduating college. I make a good salary, but every day I dream of making a living off something I truly enjoy. My biggest hang-up is that I have a baby due in 2 months and fear walking away from the financial security. Do I take the leap and try to build a new career for myself? If so, how? Or do I stick it out for the rest of my life knowing I have a reliable income?
You got a kid, man. You don't fuck around with things like that. You fucking put your beak to the grindstone and work.
Yeah, you put your wiener in a vagina and you busted. You made that choice.
You
so you also made that choice.
Yeah.
That's your baby now. That's the main goal.
And you have to work hard if you do want to be, whatever you want to do. You have to make sure your financials all in line. Don't take a risk that's gonna put your family in jeopardy. That's if you can do it without doing that, all power to you.
Mm-hmm. This is George Shupak here. To Brandon, John Anik brought you up during the Saudi Arabia card. I'm really curious on what you thought about Nicholas Daly's breathing technique and how beneficial that is.
I didn't see that fight, but I had John on my podcast. I'm a big fan of his. Seems like a quality dude, and love what he does with MMA and the UFC. So hopefully I can get him. We've talked about doing some work together, and I'd love the opportunity to help him however I can, but I didn't see the fight. So I know he mentioned me because of breathing, but I didn't see, was the guy over breathing? I didn't see what happened.
Yeah, me neither.
Yep.
Okay, Jack Yang here. Are you guys stretching before or after workouts? In the past, I've injured myself from stretching before and doing a little too much, which has made me hate stretching. And I've heard some people talk about it too. After practice, you're so warm that sometimes you can overstretch. I don't know.
Can
What do
you
you
really?
think about that?
That's crazy.
I don't know. I've just heard that.
I mean, so there's evidence that stretching prior to exercise can decrease performance, but a lot of that is, okay, stretching is a really good opportunity to connect with your mind, to slow down, to breathe. That's, to me, that outweighs everything else. And if you then get warm, so if you stretch before training and then you warm up, you're going to be fine, right? So if you were to lay down on the ground, stretch a little bit, breathe, or have somebody work with you, and then you get your warm up, you're going to be good. Prior to training, the same thing. If you slow down, there's breathing involved in stretching. You connect with your body, you slow your mind down. It's not going to have a negative effect on you. Now, if you're overstretching and you're too loose, right? It's like there's too much give, then you're more likely to ride a joint. So that's where that comes from, right? It's like you want to be able to be flexible, but you need to be able to control that range of motion. If you're so flexible that you're like almost loose, you're more likely to ride a joint. Does that kind of make sense? So think of like, this tends to be more of a female issue, but it can be male as well. That if you have say you have a female that's super loosey goosey, and then she went to go try to squat, she's probably going to just jam her joints, right?
Okay, Isaac here. If you could only eat 3 protein sources, 3 carbohydrate sources, 3 fat sources, what would they be? I mean, that's pretty easy for me. I'd either do steak, chicken. What's another meat I like? Turkey. I like turkey. 3 carbohydrate sources. I love sourdough bread. I know it's not great for the tits.
You like sourdough bread?
I know it's not great for the tits because I love rice too. And then I don't know, I like a lot of fruits. And then 3 fats, I love my butter, love my milk, and I like coconut oil. For me.
Yeah, get good quality stuff.
Are you knowledgeable with nutrition just like you are with everything else?
Slightly. That's definitely not I wouldn't say that's my expertise.
Jack of all trades, though.
Yeah, I feel like I'm, kind of trying to be an expert generalist, which I think is really good, but also there's a drawback to that.
What's that? What's the drawback, you think?
I think the drawback is that you're not, maybe we just say like look at media in general and social media. If you're the common sense guy, you're not writing a book. You're not like famous for being the common sense guy. But if you're the carnivore MD, you're so specialized that you stand out. I think that probably plays into it. But I'd rather be expert generalist and then have areas of focus that pertain to what I love to do than be the guy that knows everything about one thing.
For sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Tim, my soleus and archilios has been super tight. What stretches and PT are you doing for your injury? My physical therapist just said always make sure you warm up first before you do your stretches. And then I have this wheel thing that I put my feet on, and I do 3 sets of 15. And then I just go on this little curb and I do 3 sets of 15 calf raises, a little bit of downward dog, and usually I'm warmed up.
Yes, I thought you were talking about for your Achilles.
That's what we are talking about.
You do all that just for your Achilles?
Just to warm it
Fucking
up.
right on. Is it still swollen back behind there?
It's not near as bad as it used to be, but it's still real tight.
Yeah, it is. I
It's
can
not
see it
as
now.
bad though.
Gosh.
The tissue's really thick now, right?
Yeah, the scar tissue is really thick, but it's going down. The more they beat it up, the
It
more it's going
is down. It's not as big as it was.
I actually played some pickleball again the other day. We played duos.
I've
And
been
I had
playing
a hell
pickleball
of
all
a
weekend. Fucking pounded on people.
I can't
Maybe
wait
that
to test
was a
you
gay
out.
question.
I can't wait to test it.
Oh, yeah. Tim's Achilles faltered when he was going to take a pounding by me. Yeah.
You're right. Okay, David, thoughts on jiu-jitsu schools requiring certain uniforms, rash guard, shorts, etc., versus wearing whatever you want? I mean, that's up to your instructor. That's up to the professor. Some people like that. They like the way it looks.
I think it looks better.
Some people, like some Gracie Bajas, they try to really if you're a kid and you don't have a ton of money and you really want to train jiu-jitsu and you go to a Gracie Baja and you got to drop $800 on your first day because you have to get the rash guard, you have to get the gi, you have to do the sign-up fee, you have to pay whatever months in advance. I mean, I think that's
is that what some people have to pay the first day?
yeah, a lot of gyms are like that, but
It's a business thing, right?
yeah, which is whatever, but I like to make it a little bit affordable. Everyone can't afford that. Ask Joe if he would dress as drag. I heard him say he is scared of them last episode.
You guys fuck with me.
And it sounded like someone who might like it secretly. Ask him if he would try it. I bet he'd look hot.
What the fuck? Are you seriously fucking me?
This is questions.
Fucking...
Would you rather have your daughter marry Mike Perry or Sean Strickland? Fuck.
Is that another question?
Yep. What is Brandon's thoughts on a little marijuana, and does he ever use it? Not sure if he's answered this before. Just curious.
All for it. Yeah, a little bit for me, but not a ton. But
what do you think people have to watch out for when they are doing that?
Jacking off too much, Joe.
It fucks with your sleep, right? We know that.
Nice.
I think anything in excess can be an issue. Probably depends on the individual.
Do you think breathing? Because I have horrible issues with sleep, and just like so last night I was able to get 5 hours. It had been 3 days, 2 hours, for 2 hours for the 3 nights of sleep. So it had been terrible. But is there anything that I could do for breathing? Anything that would help that?
You probably broke your nose how many times?
Oh, I haven't broken it once.
Really?
No, fuck no.
I mean, you could try the breathe right strips.
No, I can't. I can actually do it. It's they fixed it.
Yeah.
So deviated septum.
Yeah.
It's so it's flat as fuck, but they got holes I can breathe in.
Yeah. Throw on one of the breathe right strips. So get it at Walgreens. And see if that makes a difference. It does in my sleep.
It's because I guess I don't know, maybe anxiety might have something to do with it, but because I have this, what sleep paralysis is. Mm-hmm. So I have I have sleep paralysis bad. So I don't know if maybe before bed there was something. I mean, I got to look into something like that. It's starting to fucking take me apart.
Yeah.
One night at a time.
Yeah, no, we definitely could talk about that.
Yeah.
So you could do an easy 5-minute meditation, breathing drill to calm your nervous system down. And then, again, potentially like mouth tape, you can try that. A breathe right strip over your nose will open you up. And you might right there find a significant improvement.
Oh, yeah, fuck, you can't help but try, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
Coach B, I see you work with all type of athletes in your profession. Just curious, are you able to see a difference in the type of athletes, like the difference in Suga opposed to some of the football guys or basketball athletes? Is the explosiveness the same?
Very different. Depends. Yeah, depends on the athlete. But think about it. Most likely you get pulled into a sport because you're good at it, right? And so certain bodies, certain genetics are just going to be better at certain things. And what's cool about fighting is when you look at it now, most of the guys at the top are more kind of a hybrid style, right? They're more, it's not necessarily the old school, the first person I think about is like Michael Chandler, like just this crazy, powerful, explosive, very linear. Obviously he's really good too, but fighting is like kind of the ultimate hybrid. But the sport dictates a lot of who will be elite, right? Certain people are not going to be, a lot of people aren't going to be an NBA player.
Yeah. You
need to be tall. There's skills that are required to make it at sports.
For Tim and Brandon, what were initial feelings, concerns when you guys opened your gyms? And what was the moment when you knew that your business was successful?
You can go first.
Yeah, I was in that little tiny mechanic shop that was $900 a month. I didn't even think of it as like, oh, this is going to be a big, successful business. I had like 15 members that followed me from the other gym that shut down the program. So I wasn't even really thinking long term, or I wasn't even thinking like it'd get to this. I was just kind of enjoying going in there. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, this is my own little space to train. I think this is badass. And then we slowly moved up to something else. And then we slowly moved up to now this place where we have 3 rooms. There wasn't really a day. I knew though, I was like, as long as I just make the vibe good here, we get good competitive training, everything's fun, we still come in here, have a good time, make sure everyone's nice to each other. Everyone who walks in the door, make sure there's people to greet them and make them feel comfortable, because it's hard to go into an MMA jiu-jitsu gym. It's scary, and I forget that. So as long as I just do that, then I feel like there's no way for it not to be successful. That's how I felt.
You've done a really good job at creating culture, and culture, that the way I perceive it is that it's a tribe. Like you got a lot of people that want to spend time here and hang out, and it's a cool vibe. I respect that a ton. Love it.
Thanks.
That's
How
a
about
great
for you?
vibe here, man.
Yeah.
How about for you, Bren? What was the moment you knew that your business was successful?
I mean, I think I still try to have that perspective that you're trying to grow, and not necessarily, yes, financial growth, but more continue to do a good job for the people, right? To take care of people, to make it about them. And just I love what I do. I love coaching. So for me, that was easy. The businesses can be hard, right? Like the actual business piece, I'm very fortunate to have a really good business partner that has managed a lot of that. But to me, it's about the person. It's about coaching.
Yeah. Evan, how are you, Timbo, able to tell if someone's got the work ethic, mindset, and physical capabilities to become champion? I would imagine kids come into the Red Hawk Academy every day and tell you they want to be champion, but how are you able to find the real versus fake? What I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you pick up on Ezra and Tommy knowing that they can and will achieve it? Hard trying to put the question into words. I mean, Ezra is just so it's easy with him because he loves it so much. He loves being in the gym. He loves watching it. He loves studying it. He loves just sitting down with someone and just talking about it. And he has the athleticism to back it up, and consistently just shows up. And same with Tommy. He's just got this natural gas tank to him, and he wrestled since he was 3 years old. And he's got this kind of crazy kid, mean mindset to him. So that's which is really good in fighting. So that's easy to say. But I do get
a shitty childhood.
Well, yeah, I mean, rough childhoods too. But then there's
that's not a thing. I was just saying.
But then there's those kids that come in and they just they think they've never been through a hard sparring workout, or they've never been through a hard grappling workout. So as soon as they say that, it's like, okay, you put them through a hard workout, then see how much their mind changes. Most of the time, they don't come back. They're like, holy shit, that's way different than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, you just see it. You've also coached a world champion. So you have a really good perspective of what it does take, right? You think about that as a coach. It's rare, right? Not every coach gets that opportunity. So to see someone get to that level gives you a good perspective. But you saw something in Suge early on, right away. Yeah.
For Coach B, what's the most important thing to keep in mind when choosing a strength conditioning program for MMA? Also, I love the meditation and breath work on YouTube. Thank you for the knowledge.
I mean, so online, it's hard. I think if you're picking a strength coach, you want somebody that's going to look at you as an individual. I would say that. So realize that if you're finding something online, to just understand that there should be some individualization, and if you can't do that, then look for somebody that has that perspective, if that makes sense, that they don't, like, their online profile isn't maybe dogmatic. So look for somebody that has an open mind, that seems to have some balance in their approach.
Okay. Bleachy here. I think Bleachy's a young kid. Is it possible to transform your mindset from negative, lazy, and pessimistic into positive, hardworking, and optimistic? And how would you go about doing this?
Who wants to take that one?
Just change your friend circle usually, man.
That's it, bro. Be around guys where it's just normal to be to be that way. Normal to be like motivated. Be like, hey, no, we practice and we practice hard every single day.
The
And
victim mentality is too bad.
Yeah, when we're in practice, we're talking about positive shit and wanting to work hard, giving each other shit, having a good time. But you hang out in your room all day, suck on that vape pen. No, for real. You suck on that vape pen all day, and you're just sitting in that chair playing video games. You're doing YouTube. You're not doing one tough thing all day. You're going to have a pussy mindset, and you're going to be pessimistic, and you're going to be lazy, and then you're going to rationalize why it's okay, and then just be like, well, they got this, and I didn't get this, and you suck the vape pen again. You just sit there.
Well, yeah, I'll add to that. Like what you're really good at, what Suge's really good at, is have a morning routine. and commit to get up early and do something consistently every day. Go run a mile, or do 50 push-ups, but be consistent and then start to build off of that. Right?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Create something very simple and be consistent with it for a month and then see where that goes.
Fuck yeah. That's exactly right. This guy talks about just same problems. He woke up, just started making his bed every morning and built off that.
Yeah.
Seriously, I mean, it sounds
Simple.
stupid, you're making your bed, but some people don't make their bed. They have no direction when they wake up, so they just go and do something every day. Just like I said, it's perfect.
Chris Polanco, for Coach Brandon, I suffer from sciatic nerve pain that radiates from my lower back to the leg. Any advice?
Hard to say. I hate to give blanket advice or big advice, but generally speaking, stretch your psoas. So
With that psoas stretcher thing?
that works. Half kneel, manage your pelvis, get your pelvis underneath you, and then breathe into that position. I know I have stuff on my channel for that, my YouTube, but that's one of those things that I would do every day is stretch your psoas.
And this might one you might have on your YouTube. Sure, I'm not sure. When working out, what is your warm-up routine to open up the limbs and warm up the body? Do you have that on YouTube?
I do. I would go back at nasal only 5-minute assault bike and be loose. Whatever you're doing, jump rope, whatever it is, but breathe through your nose, get into a rhythm with your breath, and then there's a lot of things to integrate from there. But a simple aerobic warm up, break a sweat, move some energy, move some air, but stay nasal. Simple.
Fucking money. Well, boys and girls, hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks, Brandon, for coming on. Where can people follow you?
Higher Human on IG is probably the best place that connects people to Higher Human Performance on YouTube. My gym, premierfitnesssystems.com. But I would say IG is the best.
Okay,
But,
sweet.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
And
Thank
if you
you.
want to hit up Joe Riggs, just dieselriggs@hotmail.com.
Yeah.
Shoot him an email. He does.
I
he's
don't have
got-
social media.
He's new to tech.
Yeah.
He's new
No
to
gay
tech.
questions.
Yeah. Fucking
But hit that
let
like,
it rain
subscribe
down.
button, comment below, and then we got every week
been
coming
trying to
out
put this down for
a confidential show every week on patreon.com/redhawk academy. So check it out for the ultimate sporters. If not, hitting that like and subscribe button helps out a lot, and we'll see you guys next week. Love y'all. Bye-bye.